Hello everyone, my name is Anubhav. Today we are starting with the lecture number 25, that is for post-graduation programming export-import management. Today's topic is all about market access initiative scheme. That is all about, in our abbreviation, we do call like MAI. So what is all about the market access initiative scheme? So firstly, we are starting with the introduction part of the market access initiative scheme. Market access initiative scheme is an export promotion scheme investigated to act as a catalyst to promote India's export on a sustained basis. On a sustained basis, during the 10th five-year plan, if we've been talking about the India, during the 10th five-year plan, the scheme is formulated on focus country approach to evolve a specific strategy for a specific market and a specific product through the market strategy survey. What actually we do during the 10th year five-year plan, we have made certain customized strategy for the particular products, that is called focus product for focus countries. Means for different countries, we have a different market access initiative. The focus product for focus country approach to evolve a specific strategy for a specific market and a specific product through the market strategy survey. And assistance would be provided for export promotions organized, and full assistance would be provided to the export promotions organizations, trade promotions organizations, exporters, etc. for enhancement of export through assessing the new market or through the increasing the share in the existing market. Under this scheme, the level of assistance for each eligible activity has been fixed. So that scheme is basically for us to enhance the market share in the existing market, or to acquire to entering in a new market. But all about how can we access the new market and how can we increase our market share in terms of the export. Yeah, if suppose that if you're not ready to acquire a new market, then what actually you can do in existing market, you can increase your share. So what is the scope? The following activities will be eligible for financial assistance under the scheme. First, to identify the priorities of research relevant to the Department of Commerce and to sponsor research studies consistent with the priorities. So that is for the market access initiative, we are providing certain funds also, certain finance also. But what the priority is that if suppose that to identify the priorities of research, if you are investing certain funds for research and development, or you are doing certain research and development to entering in a new market, or you just want to acquire new market, then what actually you have to do is to identify the priorities of research relevant to the Department of Commerce and to sponsor research studies consistent with the priorities. Second, WTO studies for evolving WTO compatible strategies. And second, to support EPC. EPC stands for Export Promotion Council. To support EPCG, trade promotion organizations in undertaking market studies, survey for evolving the proper strategies. So these are the following steps will be eligible for financial assistance under the scheme. First, to identify the priorities of research relevant to the Department of Commerce and to sponsor the research studies consistent with the priorities. WTO studies, all those WTO studies we are doing, even though you are eligible for financial assistance. To support the EPCGs, trade promotion organization undertaking market studies, survey for evolving proper strategies. Further, to support marketing project abroad based on the focus product, focus country approach. Under marketing project, the following activities will be funded. If suppose that you just want to the opening of the new showroom in abroad, opening of the warehouses in abroad, display in international departmental store, publicity campaigning, and the brand promotion. If suppose that you are starting any new plant or starting any new businesses in the international market, then what actually you have to do? we have to be display the international departmental store in a concerned country. And apart from this, we have to be spend huge budget on the publicity, because without the publicity campaigning and the brand promotions, you will not be able to get it certain success. So that is the thing. We have to be go for publicity campaigning and brand promotions. Next is participation in trade fairs, etc. abroad. Suppose that if you are participating in a trade fairs, as we know, we also organize the trade fairs in a Pragati Maidan, Delhi. So most of the Indian companies or the foreign companies also participating in those trade fairs. In the same manner, if suppose that Indian companies participating in a trade fair which is organized by the international market. So even though research and product development, reverse visit of the prominent buyers from the project focus country, export potential survey of the states, to support recognize associations in industrial clusters for marketing abroad, to support recognize associations in industrial clusters for marketing abroad. Second is the eligible agencies. Who are the eligible agencies we have? Under the scheme, financial assistance may be given to the Department of Central Government and organization of the central and state government. All the Export Promotions Council, depending on whether it's the James and Jewelry or textile or automobile or software technology park. So depending on the product to product, we have a different Export Promotions Council. So under this scheme, financial assistance may be given to the different eligible authorities also. Registered trade promotions organizations, registered TPOs, commodities board, we have a different commodities boards also. Apex trade bodies organized under the EXIM policy of Government of India. EXIM stands for the Export Import Policy of India. Export Import Policy of India. So apex trade bodies recognized under the EXIM policy of Government of India. Recognize industrial clusters. Individuals exporters only for testing charges of engineering product abroad and registration charges of pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, and agrochemicals. So all those individuals exporters also, those are also eligible for financial assistance. They are basically only for testing charges of engineering products abroad, registration charges of pharmaceuticals, biotechnologies, and agrochemicals. First is criteria for sanction. Market Access Initiative MAI scheme is based on focus country product approach, and the eligible agencies should formulate a comprehensive project for market access on the basis of focus country and focus product approach. So Market Access Initiative scheme is based on the focus country product approach, and the eligible agencies should formulate a comprehensive project for market access on the basis of focus country focus product approach. The project should be for a particular product, for a particular market, for the period of 2 to 3 years, so as to get the maximum result. Clear? So Market Access Initiative scheme is based on the focus product, focus country product approach, and the eligible agencies should formulate a comprehensive project. They have to formulate a comprehensive project for the market access on the basis of focus country and focus product approach. The project should be for a particular product, for a particular market, for a period of 2 to 3 years, so as to get the maximum result. Because in a very short time, for the 6 months to 3 months, you will not getting the very good result. That is the only reason they are financing for at least 2 to 3 years to get the maximum result. The proposal should not duplicate the effort of any existing activities or organizations in the same field. Next, the assistance under the schemes. The assistance under the schemes for activities under the project will not be provided for which assistance under the MDA has already been sanctioned. The funding for the project will be on cost sharing basis. However, the empowered committee may consider for the enhancement of curtailment of the level of assistance or merits of project. Second is the scrutiny and sanctions. There shall be an empowered committee which will consider and approve the proposals. There shall be an empowered committee, that is called EC, which will consider and approve the proposals. The empowered committee will also monitor the implementation of the sanction proposals. They will also monitor the implementation of the sanction proposals, how actually they are implementing, whether there is any feasibility of success or not. So market access initiative scheme is intended to provide financial assistance to medium-term export promotions effort with a sharp focus on a country product is administered by the DOC, Department of Commerce. The representatives of the eligible agencies, proposing sponsoring the proposals may be invited to the meetings of empowered committees. The representatives of eligible agencies proposing and sponsoring the proposals may be invited to the meetings of empowered committees. If required, ENMDA division departments of commerce will coordinate the work related to the schemes and liaison with the eligible agencies for release and utilization of the sanction fund. So scrutiny and the sanctions may what they will do. So there will be a separate empowered committee. What they will do, which will consider and approve the proposals. Firstly, they will consider and approving the proposals. After that, EC will also monitor the implementation of the sanction proposals. MAI schemes intended to provide financial assistance for medium-term export promotions effort with a sharp focus on a country product administered by the DOC. Further, the representatives of the eligible agencies proposing sponsoring the proposals may be invited to the meetings of the empowered committee. If required, ENMDA division department of committee commerce will coordinate the work related to the schemes and liaise the eligible agencies for release and utilization of the certain sanction fund. Under payment made under the scheme will be subject to the audit. Payment made under the scheme will be subject to the audit by the controller and Audit Journal of India, as well as by means deemed fit by the Government of India. Government of India will causes the physical verification and other such inquiry as deemed fit the project sanction under the scheme. Details of approved purpose for the schemes and level of assistance. Details of approved proposal purposes for the schemes and level of assistance. Firstly, we have to then further we have market study. Assistance would be provided for undertaking a market study of a particular market for a particular product to have in a depth analysis and evolve a proper marketing strategy for greater market access as per the needs of that particular market. So what actually, if suppose that you just want to be enter in a new market, then what actually we have to do? We have to be do certain depth analysis, and we have to be evolve a proper marketing strategy. If without the proper marketing analysis, you will not be able to get certain success in the new market. Then what actually do? So assistance would be provided for undertaking a market study of a particular market for a particular product. To be having a depth analysis, we have to do certain depth analysis and evolve a proper marketing strategy for a greater market access as per the needs of that particular market. Further, professional consultant will be employed to undertake marketing studies, and Indian diplomatic missions in the target country would be associated with such studies. Such studies could be approved as a first step of the marketing project, and the finding recommendation would be the basis for further activities to be taken for greater market access. So what actually we have to do? We have to be acquire certain professional consultant. They will be employed to undertaking the marketing strategies. And Indian diplomatic Indian diplomatic missions in the target country would be associated with such studies. Such studies could be approved as a very first step of marketing project, and the finding recommendation would be the basis for further activities to be taken for greater market access. And all those eligible agencies will ensure that the involvement of consultant appointed for survey studies during the execution of the project, also for smooth implementation. Okay, so whomsoever will be the eligible agencies, they will ensure the involvement of consultant, appointment for survey studies during the executions of project, also for smooth implementation. Now further, we have certain level of assistance. For market studies, grant association of 75% of the total cost would be provided under the scheme of the rest. Suppose that you have a 1,000 rupees project, then 7,500, that is called 750 rupees would be provided. So market studies grant assistance of 75% of total cost would be provided under the scheme, and the rest, that is 25%, would be borne by the eligible agencies. Rest amount would be borne by the eligible agencies, will be responsible for same. However, for study designed by the DC, Department of the Commerce, for the causes of export promotion, 100% assistance. 100% assistance would be provided. The assistance of studies would be subject to a ceiling of rupees 75 lakh each study. The assistance for studies would be subject to the ceiling of maximum 75 lakh rupees for each study. Second, I have been told the opening of showroom and warehouses. Showroom and warehouses would be set up in leased or rental accommodation for identify product at identify center, identify on the basis of marketing study surveys. If suppose that you just want to be open certain showrooms or warehouses in the international market, then what will happen? Showrooms and warehouses would be set up in lease or rental accommodations. Fully on the lease or rental accommodations, you don't need to buy. For identify product at identify center, identify on the basis of marketing studies and survey. Here it will talk about the level of assistance. Under the scheme, 75%, 50% and 25% of the leasing rental charges in the first, second and third year respectively would provided as assistance. Ceiling of 50 lakh rupees would be for each market products per annual. So for per product annually, 50 lakh rupees is the maximum limit would be provided to you, or that is maximum limit is 75%, 50% and 25% for first year, second year and third year. That is called level of assistance would be provided to you if you are opening up the showroom and warehouses in the international market. Third, in a display in an international departmental store, if suppose that you are opening any departmental store or international departmental store or displaying certain products and services in a respective location, then what you can do, you can tie up with the local distributors. If suppose that you are targeting South Africa or Zimbabwe or China or Japan, so what actually you can do, you are trying to tie up with the local distributors who are already running in the market, and major store shall be used as a tool for promoting particular products. International department store chain would be identified on the basis of marketing studies and surveys. So what actually we have to do, firstly you have to tie up with the local distributors, and major stores shall be used as a tool for promoting particular product. International departmental store chains would be identified on the basis of marketing studies and survey. A level of assistance would be here. Under the scheme, 50% of the rental charges of display space would be provided as assistance, subject to a ceiling of 50 lakh rupees per annual each product. Clear? Publicity campaigning. Intensive publicity campaigning for identified. Intensive publicity campaigning for identify product in the identified market through various means would help in creating a brand identity for Indian product in the international market. As we know, without creating the brand awareness in the market, you will not be able to get a certain success. So what actually you have to do, you have to spend huge fund on the publicity campaigning, because unless customers will not be aware about your product, whether you are running in the market. So just because of creating the awareness in the market, what actually you have to do, you have to create the publicity campaigning, intensive publicity campaigning for intensive identifying product in the identifying market. So the various means would be helping creating the brand identity for Indian products in the international market. Level of assistance. 50% assistance would be provided for 2 years. in a particular market subject to a ceiling of rupees 50 lakh rupees per annual per market. The assistance can be considered for a third year after review of the result of the project in the first 2 years. Suppose that you are getting certain success in the first 2 years, then it might be carry forward for the third years also. So for the first 2 years, the maximum limit is 50 lakh rupees per annual for per market. If suppose that you are dealing with a 3-4 market in simultaneously apparently, then there will be a separate 50 lakh rupees will be issued to you or funded to you for a different market, or that is totally for the annually. The participation in a trade fairs, BSMs, etc. abroad. Under the schemes, assistance would be provided for participants in a trade fair, exhibitions and identify potential place abroad on the focus country products basis. Participation in such fairs, exhibitions will be normally be part of a comprehensive strategy to maximize the benefits. Such efforts shall be linked with the effective publicity campaigning, seminars, buyer-seller meets, that is called BSM. These activities will be coordinated with the eligible agencies. Okay, further we are moving towards level of assistance. 2/3 of the actual expenditure. If suppose that you have spent 100 rupees, of that 100 rupees, 2/3 of the actual expenditure will be actually provided to you. The expenditure on the TADA would be met by the each participant. The assistance would be subject to a ceiling of rupees 50 lakh for each fair. The following subcomponent would be covered: venue cost, where you just establishing your what we call publicity campaigning, publicity cost for the event, cost of the catalog and other material, translation and the interpreted charges. So level of assistance, 2/3 of the actual expenditure. The expenditure on the TADA totally would be met by the each participant. Personally, the assistance would be subject to the ceiling of rupees 50 lakh for each fair. The following some component would be covered: venue cost, publicity cost for the event, cost of the catalog and the other materials, translation and the interpreter's charges. If you are entering in the international market, you require certain interpreter and the translator also. If suppose that you are not able to speak the certain foreign languages or Chinese or some other languages, if you are entering a different market, then you require certain translator also. Assistance to the reverse visit of the prominent foreign buyers, foreign trade journalist. Under the scheme, assistance to the reverse visit to the prominent buyers, journalists, editors of trade journals and representatives of leading buyers houses from project focuses, countries for visiting important trade fairs, exhibitions, BSM, seminar, and to visit important units in India would be provided to the eligible agencies. So under the scheme, assistant to the reverse visit of the prominent buyers, assistant to the reverse visit of the prominent buyers, journalists, editors of the trade journals and representatives of leading buying houses from the project focuses countries for visiting important trade fairs, exhibitions, buyer-sellers meets, seminars, and to visit important units in India would be provided to the eligible agencies. If we will talking about the level of assistance, 2/3 of the total approved expenditure. Total approved expenditure is supposed 1 lakh rupees, or 2/3 will be provided to you. The total 2/3 of the total approved expenditure, the following some component would be the covered: venue cost, publicity cost for the event, cost of the catalog and the other material, translation and the other interpreted charge, any other components approved. Okay. So level of assistance, 2/3 of the total approved expenditure would be provided to you. Now, empowered committee. %100% of the air travel cost of the foreign visitors in the economy classes only would be financed. The foreign visitors would be meeting their own boarding, lodging expenses. Boarding and lodging will be borne by the only foreign visitors. The empowered committee would decide a fixed allocation for the activities each year. Okay. So 100% of the air travel cost of the foreign visitors on the basis of the economy class if somebody is traveling, and the foreign visitors would be meeting their own boarding loading expenses, and the EC would decide a fixed allocation for the activities each year. Clear? So empowered, in case of empowered communities, only air travel cost will be provided to you. That is maximum 100% in the economy class only. And the EC would be decided a fixed allocation for the activity each year. Research and product development. Selected exporters, your export promotion council, EPCGs, trade promotion organization would be assisted in modernizing and upgrading the identified product as per the needs of a specific market. This may be considered as a separate proposals or as a component of the approved project under the scheme for the assistance. The EPCGs concerned, etc., would act as a coordinator. Selected exporters, export promotion councils, trade promotion organizations would be assisted in modernizing and upgrading the identified product as per the needs of a specific market. This may be considered as a separate proposals or as a component of the approved project under the scheme for the assistance. The EPCGs, export promotion councils, concerned, etc., would act as a coordinator. Level of assistance, 25% of the total approved cost, 25% of total approved cost subject to a ceiling of rupees 50 lakh for each product would be borne by the scheme, and the balance 75% for the concerned EPC and exporters or TPO, trade promotion organizations. In terms of the research and development products, selected exporters, export promotions councils, trade promotions organizations would be assisted in modernizing. Suppose that you are looking for modernizing and upgrading the identified product as per the needs of a specific market. This may be considered as a separate proposals or a component of the approved project under the scheme for the assistance. The EPC concerned would be act as a coordinator. The concerned export promotion council would be act as a coordinators. Level of assistance is built up 25% of the total approved cost subject to the ceiling of rupees 50 lakh rupees for each product would be borne by the scheme, and the balance 75% by the concerned EPC, exporters and TPOs. Now, assistance to the cottage and handicraft units. For providing assistance to the cottage and handicraft units, the funds shall be earmarked on the annual basis for eligible activities under the scheme. In addition to other eligible activities, the assistance would also be provided for developing website for virtual exhibitions at the rupees 75% of the total approved cost. Preferences shall be given to the small and medium entrepreneurs in the allocation of the fund. So for providing assistance to the cottage and handicraft units, the fund shall be earmarked on the annual basis for the eligible activities under the scheme. In addition to eligible activities, assistance would also be provided for the developing website. If suppose that you are dealing with the e-commerce businesses, or you are just want to be virtually exhibition of your product and services, then only 75% of the total approved cost would be provided to you, and preferences shall be given to the small and medium entrepreneur in the allocation of the fund. Level of assistance, cottage and handicraft unit for eligible activities, where level of assistance for eligible 75%, 2/3. Level of assistance for eligible activities in case of cottage and handicraft 90%. Remark: the assistance would be subject to the maximum ceiling prescribed in normal cases. 50%, 75%, do please take it out the screenshot of this particular slide. Where level of assistance for eligible activities under the scheme, the normal course is 75% and 2/3. The level of assistance for eligible activity in case of part-time handicraft, that is for 90%. Okay? Now, assistance to the industrial clusters. The fund shall be provided through EPCGs, export promotion councils concerned on the prescribed scheme for the activities such as market study, participation in trade fair, etc. abroad, opening of warehouses, showroom, display, international store, and publicity. Statutory compliances. What are the statutory compliances? Charges, expenses for fulfilling statutory requirement in the buyer country, including registration charges for product registration, abroad for selecting the priority product group. Under this scheme, assistance will be provided on the reimbursement basis to individual exporters for charges fees paid by individual exporters for fulfilling the statutory requirement in the buyer's country. So this is totally so simple. It's so easy, quite easy to understand. Registration charge paid in case of pharmaceuticals, biotechnologies, agrochemical products, and for getting assistance, an exporter is required to send the request through concerned EPC along with a certificate from the state EPC and the Indian mission concerned certifying that amount paid towards such charges. And expenses made for carrying out clinical trials, data validation for pharmaceutical product, equipment, medical consumables, disposable shall also be covered for assistance. Preferences shall be given to the small and medium entrepreneurs. Empowered committees may decide other product group, nature of compliances eligible for assistance under these provisions. So what are the statutory compliances? Again, I'm just telling. Charges, expenses for fulfilling statutory requirement in the buyer's country, including registration charges for product registration, abroad for selecting priority product group. Under this scheme, assistance will be provided on reimbursement basis to individual exporter for charges fees paid by an individual exporter for fulfilling the statutory requirement in the buyer country. For example, registration charge paid in case of pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, agrochemical product. For getting assistance on exporter is required to send the request through the concerned EPCGs, along with a certificate from the said EPCGs and the Indian mission concerned certifying the amount paid towards such charges. Expenses made for carrying out clinical trials, data validation, etc. Pharmaceutical product, equipment, medical consumables, disposables shall also be covered for assistance. Preferences shall be given to the small and medium enterprises. For the large enterprises, it's not feasible. So that is basically preferences will be given to the small and medium enterprise. Empowered committee EC may be decide other product group nature compliance is eligible for assistance under this provision. So level of assistance for statutory charges, expenses on statutory compliances of the product allowed by the empowered committee. Assistance under the scheme would be 50% of the charges. Expenses and the total ceiling for each exporter shall be 50 lakh rupees per annum. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Take care.